welcome back to our fourth episode of the Powered by Forever podcast. I'm here with two special guests, and where are we today? We're in Scottsdale, Arizona, back home.
Yeah, home base.
Last time Greg and I were together, we did this in Japan. I'd like to say we're back by popular demand, but I don't think it was that popular, really. So don't forget to go out and check out the Powered by Forever, what's that, episode 3, and that was a great discussion that Greg and I had in Tokyo. Brilliant discussion about their success over the years.
And I think you could learn a lot about what they do and why they're number one for so many years and forever. So yeah, go check it out.
And to see Kaz's insight too, from being only 2 years in the company, I found that really interesting.
Very. He's incredible.
Right, so that's the commercial over for our Powered by Forever version 3. But what's important now is version 4. Nick Woodward-Shaw, they're so good. He's amazing that they gave him 2 last names because one wasn't sufficient.
Well, it makes me sound smarter than I actually am, and it seems to be working.
It's certainly, you fooled us, mate. You fooled us. As is tradition now on the Powered by Forever podcast, we're going to toast. And today's toast is brought to you by Forever Aloe Peaches.
Yes.
So, gentlemen, it's a great event.
Not Kampai this time.
No.
Nope. Cheers.
Cheers. Hey, a couple of English words. Cheers, me old boy. Cheers. Down the hatch and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since I've had peaches.
It's lovely.
That's good.
It's definitely the best tasting aloe drink that we do. That might be something that causes a little bit of...
I don't know. I like mango a little bit better.
Yeah, it's true. Mango's good. But that is good. I haven't tasted that forever.
This is what I got my kids on.
Oh, yeah?
When they were really young. I persuaded them that it was liquidized gummy bears. And they took it. That's true.
Sounds a bit valiant, doesn't it?
And they still take it.
Piece of advice right there.
Your first way, trick your kids to drinking it by liquidizing gummy bears. All right. Hey, Nick, that's a good segue. Tell us a little bit about you, your family, what brought you to Forever.
Well, I've actually been with Forever for 25 years this year. Those first 8 years, I worked for an outside vendor, as you guys know very well, looking after events in the UK for a few years, and then into Europe, and then over here, which of course I brought my family, beautiful wife Laura, who of course you know very well, and Emily and Olivia, 2 daughters who are doing their thing out in the world like they do.
And what is their thing?
Emily, my eldest, she's 23. She is in retail management with Target. Flying up the ladder there, which is weird because that wasn't what she intended to do. Yeah. It was all about theatre, dancing, performing. And then this took a little turn, but she's loving that. And then my wee one, who's 20, Olivia, she is a performer at Disneyland in Orlando. Sorry, Disney World in Orlando.
World. Well, it's great. I remember very well Nick and I and Greg worked together a long time ago before you were officially part of Forever on success days and European events. And then one day, do you remember we were in Hong Kong?
Yes, I do.
And we were, what was the hotel? Do you remember the hotel? We were, it was like the high, really tall.
The
Hyatt, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And I remember we were sat in there and Greg sort of formulated this idea. Do you think Nick would come and live in America? And that's where it began, huh? I remember that discussion.
And how has it been since you've been here in America?
Amazing. I mean, truly life-changing. And I mean that sincerely. I remember you asking... I nearly said pop the question, but that's typically, I don't think we were getting married at the time. But my mind spun around. It was not on my radar at all to be invited to come to the Home Office. Huge honor. And it's been, and I remember one of the things you said, which completely took all the risk out of it, was you could tell that I was concerned from the family point of view because they were really settled in England in school. And I remember you saying, if it doesn't work out, we'll find a way of making it work. And suddenly that took all the pressure off and it just seemed like this could be an amazing adventure. And it has been. So very grateful. And life's good.
Well, I can assure you that we're grateful too. And not you're part of the fabric of who we are. So it's not, what you contribute to Forever, the FBOs, and to our experiences, events, communications is just remarkable. But not that you don't need to hear that, but it's obvious, and I'm sure that everyone out there agrees too.
His role has developed over the years too. And so I was going to ask you, you were very focused in events back then, but it's really developed since you've been here. So tell us a little bit. I don't think everyone realizes you're not just events. What else are you involved with?
Well, thanks to you guys, I'm now the title's Senior Vice President, which makes me sound very old.
Senior.
Bloody hell. Well, look in the mirror.
Of communications. Communications being events, marketing, relationships, and taking care of the FBOs, which of course is the most important thing. So really, it's everything that the company presents, includes PR as well, and making sure that we represent the company as well as possible, and of course take care, reward, educate, inspire the FBOs to do what they do. So,
and is that a full-time job?
Good job I don't get paid by the hour. You couldn't afford it.
Oh, that's brilliant. I have to write that one down. The scope of your work, your energy levels are off the charts. You never stop, And in fact, where did you just get back from?
Just came back from a trip in Thailand, checking out everything for the EMR 25 next year in Phuket.
How's that looking?
Looking really good. That is a beautiful resort. And of course, we know the Thai culture very well. Super hospitable, beautiful beach.
The food.
Oh, the food. I love the food. So I had a couple of days there, making sure that's all in line.
Tell us a little bit, since we're on this subject, a lot of people have gone to Pattaya in the past because we went there, I don't know, 3 times?
3 times, yeah.
What do you see the difference between Pattaya and Phuket? Because I see a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a slight upscale.
Yeah.
Pattaya is great, and we have great friends there, and the resorts there is beautiful. But yeah, Phuket's definitely a step up. The beach is more idyllic, if you like. The resorts, definitely an upgrade there. And we're going to have 3, maybe 4 resorts all right next to each other, all connected by the beach. And it's definitely set up a little bit more for, when I say tourist, it's very authentic. Some amazing restaurants and plenty of sightseeing, which of course will.
I think it's a really fun place too, right?
Yeah. It's a kind of party
more
place.
So than Pattaya, I
right?
Would say.
Right, because we kind of hung out inside the resort, didn't we, in Pattaya, which was nice, but didn't really have the opportunity so much to go out because there wasn't so much there. So no, I'm really excited about that one. I know they're going to love it, and also one of the great things about Thailand, which I know some people ask us why we go back, but of course one of the main reasons is that for visas and travel, it's much easier in places like Thailand. So it is one of the reasons we like to go there, because we hate it when people qualify and they're not able to attend for visa reasons.
And another good reason Phuket is the airport's bigger.
Right.
So there's more international flights coming in than Pattaya.
Correct.
So and that should help.
The
travel.
And you don't have to drive from Bangkok.
And the airport's about 20-25 minutes from where we're going to be at. So it's going to be great.
So tell us a little about the process of choosing a venue or a location. What does that look like? Give the sort of listener a kind of an idea of what goes into that decision. Well,
it's a long and complicated process, I would say, and not particularly structured. But what we try and do is, and sometimes we're looking 3 or 4 years ahead. In fact, right now we're looking 5 years ahead, because we're trying to take advantage of some relationships and being able to secure the places we want to take our qualifiers to. But we look at various things. Accessibility is really important. Trying to make sure that as many guests can come in and visit. And we try and find destinations where we're showing our FBOs the world. I remember when we launched Global Rally we launched it in 2012 for the first one to be in 13. And I think one of the taglines we had is, you're going to see the world with the Global Rally. And boy, have we proven it. We've hit, I think, every continent pretty much except for Antarctica.
Do you have any venues?
There's not many arenas in Antarctica.
We'd have to do an outdoor one, won't we?
So definitely giving our FBOs an experience of the world is important. Sometimes we can be slightly strategic and maybe target maybe an upcoming market, which helps to kickstart that. Sometimes we'll go to more established markets.
Like India last year, type thing, or early this year.
I have, by the way, some amazing statistics I've just dug up about India, which proves its purpose, and I hope proves my worth in the job if I need it.
Get your calculator out, mate.
But we had if we compared the first 3 months of the year in India, then we had the rally to the second 3 months, so the second quarter, if you like. Then there was a 14% increase in recruitment in the second quarter compared to the first quarter. There was a 16% increase in retention, which is one of the key goals of that event, to provide training in India, because the numbers in India for retention were not as maybe good as we would hope. And there's been a 12%, I believe, increase in sales.
Right.
Of course, I would like to think that part of that is to do with the event, but and that's what goes into the event. We have these.
But we've also seen that same what you've talked about in India. We're seeing that in the rest of the world too,
which is brilliant.
The impact of that event on the rest of the world has been great. So,
can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
There's no doubt that it helped, because Aidan and I have been there before the global rally at 2 events with almost the same amount of people in that venue. So it wasn't the amount of people necessarily that changed. I think it was the Indian people seeing all the international superstars and getting to hear them and learning from them, and especially their experience, right? Because India, the FBO leaders are younger than the leaders from the rest of the world. So I think that's added, and we've talked to a lot of the leaders since then. And they definitely, learned and saw kind of a different vision of how they could build their business going forward, which I think's led to that retention number. And it's only going to get better. So I think it's true. That's what awesome. You're saying.
But you're right. Those international leaders did a brilliant job with the training. Dominique, Jane Leach, Pepe did something. Hanami, of course. All of it was focused on how to build long-lasting business, which is what everyone out there should be doing.
The thing that we really saw, which was great for India, was the love of the product. When we saw that with all those leaders, it was wonderful, because there's this misconception that, it's all about the new car or whatever. It was nothing like that. It was all about the love of the product, developing good customer relations. And I that was one thing and that's why retention's gone up. That's why sales are going up, is because people are really realizing. And it was great for those young Indian leaders, like, whoa, they are dedicated to the product. And I really enjoyed seeing that. And as we do in the rest of the world too. So going back to that process so you talked about accessibility. You talked about choosing markets or rising. There are business decisions in there too. Cost. We've seen the cost of events just skyrocket. And everyone will know that from their own hotel room, flight experiences. It's a hard number. What have you seen since COVID, the sort of cost increase percentage? What would you guess that would be?
Gosh, it's really interesting. And every market is completely different.
Right.
But certainly I would say hotel price increases probably a third up post-COVID, opposed to pre-COVID.
It's definitely what we've seen on a personal basis.
Flights too. I mean, we all know as we travel, we're looking at, in some cases, double the cost of pre-COVID, and it hurts. And it's one of the things we look at very carefully. We try and mitigate that in other areas. Sometimes, and obviously. So
let me just tell them what you just said there. Is the point I want to make is that we're still at 1,500 case credits to qualify.
Right.
That's a lot of product. We recognize that, and that's difficult. It's hard work. And so what we try to do as a company is to mitigate, like you said, or to find other cost savings as opposed to changing the incentive.
Correct.
Or raising the price.
Or raising the price of the product.
33%.
Yeah. Because we've seen that for sure. Definitely just in the straight bills that we get, they're 30 to 40% higher now than they were pre-COVID. There's no doubt about that. not that we want to talk about that too much, but I wanted to highlight sometimes when people say, hey, why do we go there? Why do we go here? So we've got accessibility. We've got cost as a big factor. Mm-hmm. And visas, you mentioned it earlier. This is a massive thing, and I wanted to stress that point a little bit, is that probably the greatest driving factor of us is accessibility via visas, right? That you said it brilliantly, and when it breaks our heart when someone works hard all year and they just can't go.
Yeah.
So we try and avoid that. Thailand, for example, is very open.
Yes.
And I know that's one thing that you were looking at in the rest of Asia too, is they have a very open, inclusive opportunity that we can't offer, maybe here in the US or in other European countries maybe.
Yeah, there's some markets where, instantly there could be 35% of our qualifiers who are denied, and like you said, it instantly it breaks our heart, and there's no way back. And we do everything we can. We write to the I write to probably 20, 30 embassies for every event. I know some of us have visited embassies when we're in the countries. We do the very best we can, and it's not always possible, but we're very mindful. Yeah,
I just wanted to make that point because not everyone sees that. It is something that we take very, very seriously. Is this, and it's getting worse. Yeah. The ability to travel freely is definitely challenging for us. And so I want to go back to we talking about growth in this podcast series. We're talking about the acronym of growth. We talked about grit. To represent, which you mentioned earlier, good shout out. To be organized, the one we did in Japan was about organized. We skipped one with work because we're going to get back to that one, because together fitted perfectly this whole idea of getting together in this environment. So sort of decision-making process, hardest thing you've had to do, hardest decision you've had to make in the event world. I know what it was for me, and I'd be thinking of this one, mate.
So there's been two really, really, really hard events in my career, and one of them was in Nigeria, which I experienced with Gregg.
The electrics.
That was just tip of the iceberg. We had electrics. I had a health issue that week. Lots of difficulties, lots of challenges there, which we were very proud to overcome and hopefully not repeat, but also many challenges in India, and some curveballs that are thrown at us. And I always say, with all our contacts, the entire team, every hotel, before every single event we do, I have a chat to them, put in a call, and I say, things will go wrong this week. The scale of what we do, the number of moving parts, the number of people involved, something's going to go wrong. Yeah. It just will. So what I really instill in them is, when something goes wrong, don't try and hide it from us. I can be your best friend at fixing that, even though, if you like, I'm the client. That's not how I don't like an us and them approach to that organization. It's, we succeed together or we fail together. So it's one of the things that I instill. And in India, as you're saying, I said that to all our partners there about, something comes up, tell me. And we did have one particular challenge which came up about 3 or 4 weeks before the rally started, which was the arena that we had in the very center of the city there. We got a contact from the Prime Minister's office of the biggest democracy in the world, who had an election starting the week after we were there, saying, I want your venue.
On the day we had it.
On the day we had it. And it's kind of a long story, but partly because of the relationships that we built, we managed to negotiate and wangle our way around this, and eventually persuaded the Prime Minister's office to do their event the day following our event, by allowing them to use some of our equipment and our staging and our infrastructure that we'd created. So that was a few sweaty palms and sleepless nights, because I thought, hang on, we've got 20,000 people coming in. Flights are already booked. Everything's already paid for. And we might not have a venue.
Well, that was like Bali. Do you remember that? I think you said we had $1 million invested in that outdoor party. Mm-hmm. And the rain came. And it didn't stop.
But that's one good thing about you, Nick. You always look at a situation and you have your challenge or problem in front of you, but you always find the solution. that's where you spend your time and your effort, not worrying about the problem itself, but what's the solution to it. And I think that's a great lesson for all of us to learn, to not spend time worrying about it, but looking and searching for the answer.
It's Laura thinks maybe I have a psychological issue, but in a weird way, I love those times. It's kind of a huge buzz,
right?
And I always think you've got two choices. I can cry, get upset, and kick something or someone, and lose the plot, or you make the best of it. And that first option isn't going to solve anything.
Yeah.
So I might as well just dive in, do the very best we can, and certainly with barley. What a great example of togetherness. Because literally we had, at the time we had to make the call, it was less than 2 hours to the party, and we moved location, we moved almost 2,000 meals.
The food was incredible.
Drinks, entertainment. We didn't even have a venue. And within 2 hours, thanks to the extended team, and not only our event team, who make me look way better than I actually am, but FBOs too. I remember putting a message out on Facebook saying, guys, we've got an issue. Unfortunately, you're not going to have the party you will have. And I got emotional because I said, you will have a party. You will have a party. And I got texts and calls and messages from hundreds of FBOs saying, what can I do to help? I remember I got something from Rolf saying, can I help set up chairs or something? Another FBO said, I'm a really bad DJ, but if you need one, I might be your best option. And FBOs did come by and they helped us set it up. And this is their party. And what a privilege it is to be around people like that.
And just the attitude they brought to the party was incredible. We had so much fun. But I think also, you mentioned it earlier, the relationships that you build, not just with internally, but with the hotels. And because you did that, you were able to get that room.
Right.
Because you had that relationship built with them. And, again, that's very important for all of us to learn. It may not seem right now that it was important to have that relationship with the hotel staff, but later on it became the solution to the problem.
Similar issue in Abu Dhabi. Remember when sadly the Sheikh passed away? And we thought our party on the Formula One track was going to be cancelled. And again, I think part of that was some of the relationships that we built with the government there. Enabled us. It wasn't quite the party that we wanted,
but it was remarkably unique, wasn't it? Wasn't it? You remember it was that sort of downplayed, quiet one.
I had to whisper.
But I tell you what, and how grateful we were that the government and the staff, they said, hey, we'll find a solution with you.
And they're desperate to have us back.
And that is like what Gregg's, I think, saying is that it's a real lesson for all of us that relationships matter. That they truly do. I remember with the food situation on that, because it was an outside vendor serving food in a hotel, and that's a no-no.
Right.
And yet there they were, and the hotel staff were helping, and all because of relationships. And in our business, relationships are literally everything.
Right.
Is because you need the collateral of a good relationship to overcome the damage that comes, or the challenges that come.
Right.
The one thing that came to my mind with events is this. Did you remember?
The event that never happened.
The Aloe Baby for Australia.
Correct. Yeah, 2020.
And it never happened. Now, in hindsight, this doesn't look like a big deal. But do you remember at the time we were sat in the boardroom right here, and this idea that we forever wouldn't have a rally was completely alien, and this thought process that we were going to cancel this because it was right at the beginning of the COVID experience. And now looking back, it seems easy, the decision, but I remember us looking at the numbers.
It really wasn't a decision.
No, exactly.
But at the time, it was huge.
Yeah. That's one thing I remember. And then pulling the plug on a rally, I just remember thinking, how are we going to survive this? And then in 6 weeks maybe?
Yeah.
We put on, or you put on with your staff, an award-winning online rally experience.
Yeah.
Where we did all of it, but we did it out of the boardroom and a global team of. That's right. That was incredible.
Yeah, that pivot into COVID and time, because we didn't really know what we were doing. Like Zoom was kind of it's been there, but we'd never actively used it. So kind of such a fast learning experience.
It was incredible. As one highlight, low light, I don't know, of my career, but that whole process of, and I just remembered, and when I saw this, that I just thought, oh my goodness, that was an agonizing time.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, let's not focus on too much on the past. I want to talk a little bit about the future.
Oh.
So where are we going next year?
Well, for the Global Rally, we're in Paris.
Paris?
Ooh la la.
And you were just there not too long ago.
I was, yeah. It's coming together very nice. Of course, I had to do a quick site visit before the Olympics, and even then, a lot of the city was closed down, or a lot of the venues, including the huge arena that we're going to be in. It's called the La Défense Arena.
Which is the swimming one, right?
Correct, yeah.
So if you watched on the Olympics, the swimming events, that's where we're going to be.
Yeah.
In a pool?
They built, if you want to.
It's still there.
I just want to know what our opening ceremonies look like.
Oh, no. Don't bring that up.
I watched all of that, and I won't comment too much.
Please don't. Oh, no. Anyway.
There was a couple of really cool elements,
Yeah.
I thought. But
The beginning and the end.
no, we'll definitely be inspired by the Olympics. We've got a couple of ideas how to take some of the achievements that we saw there by the athletes and the countries, and maybe find some links to training and how we can inspire our qualifiers too.
We're going to get to swim in the Seine River. Is that what it is?
If you want.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the importance of being together, and Paris is coming up, an opportunity to be together. Obviously, if you're working hard on your qualification right now, you know, that's a highlight of your year to go to Paris.
Right.
But if, let's say, you fall short of the qualification, kind of go over, for someone that's watching, why would it be important for them to, you know, take money out of their pocket, sacrifice a bit to be at the rally? What's that going to do for them and their business, do you think?
Well, time and time again, which is one of the reasons we keep doing them. The thing we hear about attending the events is belief. And there's so many stories of people who are now top leaders, first coming as non-qualifier. Perfect example, Hanami Takagi, who's number one in the world. She attended the Global Rally in 2018 and had a nice little business going on. And it was at that event where she saw Rolf and Dominique on stage, saw the vision, and thought, I can do that. And so I think belief is probably the biggest one. But not only that, I mean, our goals, we set strategic goals for all our events, and they always include rewarding recognition, education. We'll be doing training on that very big stage, a half day of training. So you're going to hear, same as the Indians did, from the best in the world, how to build your business going forward. And of course, fun is a huge element. It's in our mission statement, so boy, are we going to have fun. But and the last goal that we have for this one is it's the City of Love. So we want to everybody attending to take a little bit of Paris home in their heart.
The thing for me on events is belief is probably a better word for me. It's just that recharges your batteries, doesn't it? You know, because sometimes it's hard to do what we do. There's a lot of headwind. And all of a sudden you stand in an arena, you look around, there's 20,000 people or whatever that number is, and you think to yourself, you know, these are all like-minded people. And the opportunity to be and to see that is unique.
I think that networking, everybody coming together. And in my distant past, I've organized events for other companies, good companies in our industry. But the unique thing that drew me to Forever is that sharing of advice, of training, cross-line. It doesn't happen in some other organizations. So I think that you're right, that getting together and non-qualified.
Kaz mentioned that the other day.
Really?
Yeah, that exact same thing as one of the things he was surprised at, as the community, he called it.
Yeah.
The community that's created at these events.
And that goes back to both Gregg and Rex's vision in the first place.
So the other thing is, we're in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
We're in one of our biggest markets in the world, meaning the European area. This is their opportunity to come to this event, right? It's not that much to travel to Paris, wherever you are in Europe.
Yep.
And to be able to see that vision and feel and grab that belief to carry your business forward. Think about the dreams that you can achieve in the future just by deciding to come to this event in Paris. That's what I want people to catch.
Yeah, absolutely. And already over 3,000 people have bought tickets, so they're going fast.
Awesome.
Everybody, just as you say, just 40 euros can get you that experience. And most places in Europe are about an hour's flight away.
Yeah,
from
very
Paris.
accessible.
So it's very accessible, very easy. And there are so many examples of people who made that decision and went on to incredible things.
So we hope to see you there.
Yeah, we're launching at least 3 or 4 new products.
Yep.
We're it's touch and go on a couple that we're working through on right now, but that's going to be great too. You know, we have the best product training in the world.
Yep.
We got the best business building training in the world, and it's Paris. Mm-hmm. You know, the bottom line is you're right, literally in the heart of Paris. This whole event's right in the center of Paris.
And you may have been to Paris before on a tourist trip or whatever, but you've never been there for a global rally. It's the first time ever, right?
That's
so
right.
you need to come and experience.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Is this the first time ever?
First time ever.
Global event, yeah.
I never even thought about that. Wow.
And they're going
I want to go.
And they're going to get to see you two can in as part of the Open.
No, it's too late. I did can in Hong Kong the other day.
So non-qualifiers, if I can just do a shout out, fgr.foreverliving.com, get your ticket right now. But just before, let you carry on, but we have got 4 months left to qualify. And every meeting that I'm doing with countries and FBOs at the moment, I'm saying, please check your case credits. Every single year, we have people that are 1 or 2 case credits from qualifying, and they've missed out, or 1 or 2 from case credits away from leveling up. So don't leave it to the last minute. 4 months is plenty of time to gain what you need to, and allow the company to reward you for your hard work with a 5-star experience in Paris. That sounds pretty
well said. Well said. Sound like a commercial again. Let's go back to EMR in because we have an EMR coming up in 4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, don't.
Is that what it looks like?
How long's this podcast going on for? Because I got to work.
What's the date? So it's about a month, isn't it?
Yeah, month away.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So we're going to be rocking the boat again.
Yeah.
In 2017.
Which was a blast last time, by the way.
It was so much fun, wasn't it?
It was.
And this year, I think it's going to be even more of a blast because we were presented with a slightly bigger ship. So we were able to offer, and oh my gosh, fingers crossed everybody can take advantage of this, is having 2 cabins. So they got a bonus cabin as a one-off. So we're expecting around 3,500 FBOs on the one ship. And we're going to be sailing from Ravenna, which is kind of close to Venice, across the Adriatic Sea, calling in at Trieste in northern Italy, and then Dubrovnik in Croatia. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't
it? It does, doesn't it? I'm glad you're not asking me to spell it. But Dubrovnik is incredible.
I've never been, actually.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And the one thing I always remember there is the clarity of the water.
Mm-hmm.
The water is just crystal clear.
Nice.
How are we looking? I hate to raise this. I know that's one of the questions they're all going to be watching.
It is. Well, certainly by the time this is out, everybody will know their fate.
Yeah.
but we're about 24 hours away from the deadline closing.
Right.
And I believe partly due to the sad effect of travel visas, we know there's going to be a few of our friends unable to attend, sadly. But probably what that will mean is 98% of FBOs who wanted 2 cabins will get them. Looks like we may have 1 or 2 that may not, but that may change tomorrow. And by the time this podcast is out, you will know. But you need to know we have done everything we can to accommodate everybody. We have less staff, less crew. We're doing translations remotely.
Right.
So most of the translators are on the mainland or staying at home. So that we can free up every single cabin for the FBOs who deserve it. So.
Well done.
Yeah.
You worked really hard on that.
It's been
thank you.
There's been a lot of work behind the scenes.
And we didn't anticipate it being so difficult. There was a massive response, wasn't there? A global response, over 30% more Eagle managers and
sales are up.
Yeah.
What does that say about Eagle Manager?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely we've proven that there's a correlation between Eagle Manager and growth. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
as well as seeing those great places, of course, we've got a day of training, which we do every year, very specifically designed for Eagle managers to take their business to the next level, aiming at chairman's bonus and beyond. Mm-hmm. Last night party that's become infamous, whatever you want to say. We've got some opportunity to buy some swag on the boat.
Nice.
You can upgrade your experience with some dining options, some drinks packages, some trips, escorted trips around Dubrovnik and Trieste.
That's good. Yeah, we need to tell them that.
Yeah,
because they need to. Once they find out they're going, they need to. Where would I go to book something? So
we'll be sending out a link. It's about the end of the month where they'll be able to download the Royal Caribbean app. They can put in their cabin code and they will have their own account on there. And on there, they'll be able to book a spa treatment for their spouse or partner. They'll be able to buy a drinks package. They'll be able to upgrade one of the meals to a steak restaurant or sushi restaurant or Italian. There's be able to book their trips to Trieste and Dubrovnik. I would say those escorted trips or organized ones by Royal Caribbean are definitely worth doing.
And they get you back to the boat on time.
They very, very well organized, very well escorted. They'll show you the history if you want to do that. So loads of opportunities. So end of the month, end of August, should be able to get that app and start upgrading your experience.
They definitely need to do that because last time a lot of people missed that opportunity by not booking early. So really, really good reminder. Excellent. Yep. And then what's the future after that look like?
Well, Phuket for EMR 25,
right?
Booked and everybody's underway already with the qualification on that. So that's looking good. And then after that,
but for sure, and Greg and I have both seen this. We are out to 2030 right now on venues for EMR and Rally.
Yep.
And they're looking good.
It's really exciting. We are seeing the world.
Yeah, it's incredible.
These events, yeah.
So that's how far out we get. Is 5 years? Is that your goal?
So does that mean my job's safe till 2030?
So, yeah, as of today, yeah. You might not be when you find out the other 2% that didn't get their room might be after you.
That's true. That's true.
It won't be me and Greg, but you might be one of them. So,
no, I think for the FBO, you make a great point. Is we're planning that far ahead to motivate and excite and incentivize you, and it's not just in events in the company. We're investing every part of our business, right? We're here to stay.
All right, with all your experience of doing the events, and I know that you have a very clear matrix is maybe the wrong word, but guide of what you want the experience to be like. And what does that look like? What is your roadmap when you start up and you come and you sit down and say, okay, we're going to Paris and we want to do this, this, and this. What is that?
So it's one of my favorite times of the year, and I always do it on a weekend, so nobody else is bothering me. Sometimes go for a little walk. I find a place to myself, and I sit down with a blank piece of paper, and I try to imagine what are the goals, what do we want to achieve for this event, for the business, but probably more importantly for the FBO.
Right.
How do we want them to feel? Because I think that dopamine moment, connections, relationships that we build is critical and vital, and we design those moments in. It was a piece of advice I was given once by somebody many, many years ago when I was starting my career out in events was, think about the guy sat on his own 3/4 of the way back in the middle.
Middle.
How's he feeling?
Yeah.
Is he engaged? Is he connected? Is it too loud? Have I had enough? And so that's one of the things I think about. And then on this blank sheet of paper, try and write down the journey of these 5, 6, 7, 8 days, whatever it might be, in that destination, and make sure we give them different experiences that will affect change, to make them do something differently when they leave that event. And it's one quote you use a lot, I've noticed, is when you do a presentation, and it applies to business presentations, maybe even when you're doing recruitment with somebody, is that I think you say 20% of you will we'll do something different as a result of this event, of this training, this presentation. 80% of you won't. And so I'm constantly striving to how can we make that number bigger? Mm-hmm. What I always love when you say it is you'll say, who's in the 20%? And of course, everybody puts their hands up.
100% put their hands up, yeah. So that's something from, if I'm an FBO and I'm watching this podcast and I'm looking at, you as a professional event organizer, amongst the other things we've discussed, what am I looking to do? Like, what advice would you give me if I wanted to put an event on? Because some of our leaders, everything from having 5 people at a product launch in my house to hosting my annual kickoff with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people, whatever. Yeah. What am I looking to achieve?
Yeah, you're right. It's the same. It's just scale, and I have a bunch of friends helping me.
Right.
But yeah, so there's these 3 kind of, for me, there's these 3 trinity of experiences, is what I call it, and they're anticipation. So that's before the event is happening. It's building that excitement or understanding about what might happen, but yeah, building the anticipation. Participation. So when you're actually at the event and you're with somebody in a business meeting or product launch or whatever, it's giving them whatever it is that they need, the information that they require to make a change afterwards. And then the third one is reflection. So anticipation, participation, and reflection. And as far as FBO meetings are concerned, I would say reflection is about following up, is about, checking, did you get the information that you needed? Can I help you any further? What is your next action point?
Or how can I make it better next time? Learn from your experience.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I've been blessed to spend 30 years doing events. I've done thousands and I haven't done a perfect one yet. And
but you keep striving.
Absolutely. And yeah, never stop learning. But I think if FBOs put a similar thought process in place around anticipation, participation, and engagement at that point, and then follow-up reflections, that might help them.
It is, huh? It really, and you can see how that can work on any scale.
Right.
Yeah. Even if it's just like that, like you said, that one-on-one or product sharing opportunity, right up to a big, massive event. A lot to learn and digest and all of that. Gregg, you've been to events for how many years? You've been in the business now?
Too many.
Yeah, flipping heck. Do you have a favorite?
My gosh!
I know that's not easy. Did you look back?
I think the time's going by.
No,
way too long.
You can't. No, we got plenty of time.
Jeez. All of them have some kind of significance. I think one of the biggest ones that remain with me is probably the first global rally in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Just because it was such a major change from what we had been doing for so long. And it's turned out to be incredibly successful, I think, in my opinion. And, what we did before that was a lot of work,
it's brutal.
Yes, a lot of money,
yeah.
And to consolidate it into this one big event and be able to travel the world, like you mentioned, and have the experience like no other that we're producing now. It started with that event with just an idea and building it from there. And so that's very close to me for sure.
That definitely was a change in direction, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember our meetings a year or two prior to that, and thinking,
I know
this is scary.
Talk about anticipation.
Yeah, I know, right?
Definitely.
But, what a great decision it was. Because I remember, especially you, you guys were on the road pretty much the first 5 months of the year, going from Latin America to Europe to Africa to
every
Asia.
Region, and then before that was every country.
Yeah,
we used to travel to every country.
Wow.
And Nick, we appreciate your insights as always, and thank you so much for what you do and joining us on the Powered by Forever podcast.
Thank you.
It's been great to spend a few minutes on it and to reminisce.
I know.
And to look forward to what the future brings. But ultimately, it comes down to me as an FBO. Whether that event is 10,000 people, 20,000 people, or it's just me in the mirror, you still have to do the very best you can to put on a show which is memorable, and which creates a reflection, an opportunity for follow-up. But like with all of us, we all need to be together. We're tribal.
Yes.
And we, if we're isolated too long, we start to get high on our own supply. We need to come together, reset, and that's what the event's about. And you do an amazing job at leading that. So, mate, we've got EMR coming up in just a couple weeks, 4 weeks. We've got Paris coming up, and so many other wonderful things in between. So, Nick, thanks for what we do, and we appreciate you very much. And we'll see you all again in the Power by Forever podcast, which will be version 5. Where in the world we're going to record it, I don't know yet, but someone will probably tell me in a minute. Don't forget to go back and check out the other episodes as well, because of some great information with great guests and great observations that have been made by some brilliant people. So we'll see you there. Take care. Adios.
Ciao.